So, what is the current state of cybersecurity threat landscape? What are the skills or qualities are essential for
Yeah.
somebody to succeed in your field?
Little did I know that I learned very recently that Spotify
Mhm.
can put your child at risk when it comes to online child safety. So I did not know that even Spotify or other music streaming platforms can put your child into danger. So it is a dangerous world because of IoT, because of the connectedness that is
Mhm.
there in the world. So there is a lot of growing demand. There is rather a pent up demand for it. But there is a huge gap in the UK market as well, as there is in India, as there is in the US, of cybersecurity professionals.
Mhm.
And if I speak only about the Indian market, there's this entire startup ecosystem where you have multiple apps and everything is done online, everything is cashless. So obviously there's a pent up demand for cyber professionals, and there's a skill gap. The kind of skills that we would probably need is something between you have to walk the thin line between technical and non-technical. So you need to know your technical aspects of cybersecurity, you need to know a bit of programming, you need to know what networks are, but you also need to know psychology a bit.
Like you said, psychology, be it the skills. So, what are the technical or the hard skills which you need on paper to at least qualify for such kind of roles?
So technical skills, let me divide it for you. So usually in cyber operations in any company, which is a mandate now by all governments, all regulators, is you have to have a SOC, which is a security operations center or command, where you will need technical skills like knowing your endpoint security, knowing networks, knowing what certificates do. If you're into networks, if you're into vulnerability management, you will need a lot of application security skills, a lot of skills in the cloud. You are looking at patching as one of your technical skills. You need to know a lot about networks. Cybersecurity is big, so we usually divide them into
Mhm.
departments, really, because it doesn't make
Mhm.
sense with physical data centers so much. So you need to know if your organization has a hybrid cloud model, or they are totally, into a third party. So if you're a hybrid, you really need to know both the internal and external security, and
Mhm.
how your data is placed. A lot is around data privacy there and data breaches. So it's not easy. There are multiple fields you can work with, and then you channelize and then you see. So my suggestion to everyone is just get into something and then learn up, and
Yeah, yeah.
how you'll pick up the skills. It's a lot learning on the job, cybersecurity.
Mhm. Working in this cybersecurity threat space, are there other Indians who are doing well in this landscape?
Well, I would like to imagine they are doing well, the people I meet. We do have teams in India who do the technical bit. So I see a lot of Indians. And yes, when it comes to Indians, the technical prowess that we have, it speaks volumes.
So there is a shift of perception about the Indian talent. Um, and we've had conversation previously about it also because you've worked in India as well as UK. So have you observed a shift in the specific industry segments or company sizes?
I haven't yet worked with startups or companies that are small. I've always worked with companies like Tata Consultancy Services or Nielsen or Barclays, WPP. All are major global companies. So probably I couldn't answer that properly, but I would, yeah, stick to that. I have only seen Indians very siloed into the tech space, very less going into strategy. And that is where I would like to see more Indians. And perhaps that's to do with more communication, the skill around, the soft skills, etc. They are pretty much people like, if you go to work, I do not only expect you to speak on calls. Even in India today, if you speak in Hindi or your regional language or English, I do not expect you to just be smart on the call. I expect you to get along with your colleagues, have a basic office banter, ask people what they do, people from different cultures, learn their culture, give your culture. That, unfortunately, I don't see with Indians happening so much. So I'll give you an example from my previous organization. So hardly, there were around 3,000 Indians, 3 to 4,000 Indians in that center. The restaurant had an Indian food section. So
Mhm.
there is diversity, there is inclusivity in Britain. I mean, this might go against what the general media says. They are very inclusive. So on Diwali, they tried on a sari. They asked me to wear a sari. They asked me what the red dot means. And
Mhm.
I was absolutely happy to tell them and why I was wearing bangles. What does it mean? Culture, it's not about knowing those words and nouns and prepositions. I think you need to be a little sensitive towards the culture of countries.
Lies more to do with Indians innately are very high context people. So they feel, I saying this particular thing and over explaining this might not come across as confident. So they keep to tend to shut up, because we usually in our classrooms also, people do not raise a hand and say,
Oh,
I
yeah.
have something to say.
Oh, yes.
So
It is a
I think,
confidence issue.
yeah, so we are programmed in such a manner from our childhood that we are people who would stay quiet and
Yeah.
stay under the radar. Let's not get visible. So I think
Yeah.
that's there. And maybe that's why Indians, they like being on the technical side of it, because
Yes, because they can sit behind a computer and just go on
and
working.
yeah, but they feel, okay, it might not be very polite to ask you what you're wearing and why is this that way. So that's a mental barrier of some kind, I feel.
It's exactly that what it is. Yeah, it's a mental barrier. Yeah.
Yeah. So how is this team built in India, from the Indian market, for a company that is global? Because we see a clear difference in culture when
Mhm.
you see a Vodafone in UK and you see a Vodafone in India. Getting a remote talent on board also, how do you actually screen, source, or what do you think when you're building a team? Because clearly the resumes are quite different.
For having anybody in India, for building a team in India, we'll most probably rely on the Indian HR to do the first one or two round of screening. We'll probably have the third, and if some organizations have fourth round, they will have a fourth round where we will not dwell deeper into the technical bits, because we know the technical capabilities and the prowess that the
Absolutely.
population has. And I will be sure that the local, the regional manager there would have had screened them on the technical bits. We would expect them to share their communication skills, share their past experiences. So now this is very important. People often ask, India Talent asks, how to crack UK interviews. So UK interviews are always in star format. I don't want to know what Excel or what shell coding you've done or scripting you've done. I'm not interested. UK market always asks you to have to explain in a star format, which is situation, task, action, and result or remediation. So whenever if I were taking your interview right now, I would say, oh, so explain me a time you worked under pressure. So you just don't say, oh, this was this day I worked under pressure. No, you usually answer in that this was the situation, this is what I did, these were my actions and the result and what you've learned from it. So we expect you to speak about 5 minutes. We look into soft skills. If we are building a team in India, we look at adaptability.
How can companies build high performing teams globally with Indian and international talent collaborating and sharing knowledge together? How do you build that synergy together?
First and the most important thing is cultural sensitivity.
Mhm.
So and it goes both ways. So like organizing little things, like organizing a call, you have to be sensitive. Like when I organize a call with my India counterpart, I'm very careful that it is not going into, say, 9 o'clock at night. And I've seen Indians being very hardworking, so they will probably stay up at night, even at 2 o'clock, to take a call. But I should be sure I should not look. So I always have three clocks: the US, the UK, and India, and I see before having booking anyone's diary that I'm not going too late at night for them. And of course, cultural sensitivity. So India's a diverse country. People outside know very little about the number of religions, languages. So we must be a little careful
Absolutely.
of how we speak and how we deal with them. Another thing is nobody. We only know in the West about, oh, they all have good degrees and they all have masters, which is not the case in the West. West is more into apprenticeship. So, but little do we know about their confidence issues or cultural issues, family issues. Especially, I find this with working with women. They even when they're pregnant, I have worked with someone who's pregnant and is not telling me that she needs rest, and I have to tell her that no, you need rest. You've had a difficult pregnancy. You need, but she would work. She was work it out. So that sort of, so because I'm in India, I understand where she comes from.
Absolutely.
And the cultural aspects around, say, childbirth or marriage or anything of that sort, or a bereavement. So I think more of it is required. Another thing I would highlight is unconscious bias. It can be good, positive and negative, but both ways it's just harmful. So everyone, they would say, oh, you're an Indian, so you're good at math. I'm not. So even if it is positive, it goes my way. Nobody ever has said that I'm good at math. We have these unconscious biases, which is natural. All of us have it. Risks properly. You have to tell people what are the roadblocks, what are the pain points. So don't worry, just get on with it. And language comes automatically. Language gets polished automatically. So don't worry. And don't worry about your accents. Everybody has an accent. A Spanish person has. An Italian has. We Indians have multiple accents wherever we come from. Don't worry about them. Things are pretty open. And that's how we can promote dynamic teams. We can work on these. We can tweak these. When you see something is wrong, don't worry. I mean, nobody's going to punish you for it. Nobody is going to put you down for it. Okay, maybe it was not as important. We go ahead. But speak up. Try sharing the pain points. Maybe you'll build up that confidence to speak.
Indian talent is perceived as cheap talent, and hence it is easier to have them on board. So what is the long-term value proposition of building partnerships with Indian talent?
Right now, we have so many CEOs of major corporations who are Indians. If you speak of Google, you speak of other tech companies, you speak of World Bank, they are all Indians. No, India is no more a cheap talent. They are not our factories anymore. That perception is now shifting to other Southeast Asian countries, which I would not name. The impression of India is that they are hardworking people with a good technical background, with degrees to support that they do have that sort of knowledge. We have very good schools, colleges, institutions, bodies right now which certify that. We do get leaders from there. We do get good decision making from India. That is why now we don't only see factories, we see big cyber teams there, we see payment teams there, because they can be entrusted with that sort of a work.
So as a part of the Indian diaspora, what are the common misconceptions you encounter from your international colleagues about the Indian talent pool?
All of them have been somewhat positive. As I told you, unconscious bias, that we are all good at numbers and maths.
With Google moving, most of it's now they're laying off in US and they're moving to centers in India, with Tesla also moving. And so we're seeing globally a lot of people are moving towards the Indian market, be it outsourcing or having physical centers in the country. So is there a shift in the perception towards the talent?
I think it is the Indians who are now integrating better. They could do better, of course, but they know that they are not just the back office people and the tag that they, as you said, they have. I think globalization has helped, internet has helped, the reach, social media platforms like LinkedIn, so Instagram, Snapchat, they give you an insight into what happens in that country. I now find so many people who understand the accent that is spoken here, who understand that English can, we have a different English in different places. We have the Scouse, we have the Cockney. So, it's different. So many people know it. So social media is doing it. And I think we are coming out of that. The butterfly is coming out of its chrysalis now. So we have the technical talent, we have that prowess. As I said, we're just putting the seasoning and making it a little better now. And we're understanding that we can actually go and lead. We can go into leadership positions, decision-making positions. And yeah, that's how it is building. So it's definitely the Indian talent which has done it.
We will have a nice rapid fire.
Let's just go for it.
Here we go. Chai versus borscht. Am I saying it right?
You are saying it right, and that's very difficult because I love both, but I think chai.
Okay, fish and chips or pani puri.
Pani puri.
Okay, startup hustle or big tech stability.
Big tech stability.
Karaoke or spa day.
Spa day, definitely.
Working mother, I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, Highlands hike or London nights.
London nights.
Sari or power suit.
Sari is my power suit. I often wear it, even here.
Oh, wonderful. Parisian escape or Bollywood bliss? Which one?
Parisian escape.
Okay, investor pitch or hackathon hero?
Investor pitch.
Laughter yoga, Bengali dance.
Laughter yoga.
Rashogolla, mishti doi.
Mishti doi, hands down.
Okay, that was our rapid fire, a very trivial one, but yeah,